Just gonna do it like that. All right, so here we go with today. Y'all can see the screen okay?
Hmm.
Okay, perfect. All right, so today we're gonna talk about some ting here. So today we're gonna do velocity banking strategies. Number one, how to use credit instead of your paycheck to build wealth. All right. All right. So this is the link again to download, but you already got that link in the chat. Now I'm going to play this video for you, and I want you to listen carefully, and then I want to get your thoughts on what this person says. His name is Howard Nicholas. He's an economic forecaster, so he deals with finance on the global aspect of it. And I want you to get an idea. Listen to what this guy is saying, and we're gonna unwrap it after that. All right, here we go. And let me know if you can't hear it, but you should be able to hear it.
Okay, so what I'm going to try and do is just give you some charts and a couple of tables just to paint a little bit of a picture that you already know. Okay, so what this presentation is fundamentally designed to say is this. Africa historically, sub-Saharan Africa, has been fundamental to the global prosperity of the advanced countries. Okay? And Africa had a role to play. It has a role as a raw material producer. We will not allow sub-Saharan Africa to escape that. Okay, we do everything to keep sub-Saharan Africa where it is, also impoverished. It's absolutely vital for the prosperity of everyone else. So let's get clear about that. Okay, and this means all the economic structures, all the global institutions, and the economics we teach everyone is all designed to keep Africa exactly where it is. And whether it is Europe or US or now China, it's always the same. We need Africa to be impoverished because we need those raw materials and we need them dirt cheap. Okay, so that's the message. It doesn't mean to say that there's nothing Africans can do. Of course there is. Okay, but this is the opposition that they're fighting. This is what it's about. Because if Africa does do something different, I assure you living standards of all those in Europe and North America and Asia is going to fall. Okay? And that is a big price to pay. I assure you that the West is not going to allow that without a big fight. Okay, so this is what it's fundamentally about. What I want to show you is how these structures are operating. It's just 20 minutes, so we can't do very much, but just to give you a little bit of an idea. And why I keep the ideology part there is because we are part of the producers of ideology. At universities and academic institutions, we are complicit in this whole enterprise. Okay, so the job of many Western academics is to convince Africans they have to keep doing what they're doing. Okay, and to show them it's your fault that you're poor. It's not our fault. It's your fault that you're poor. You know, so this is what we do in academic institutions, and I want to show that as well. Let me just.
Okay, he said a lot there. Let me hear your thoughts. What did you hear?
I heard they're trying to keep a country in the same place for the benefits of others.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've heard this for a while. You know, they divided Africa up and
Mhm.
then they decided which parts of Africa had resources that were most valuable to them,
Berlin
killing
Conference.
leaders that were causing change when they were rising up. I mean, it's a concerted effort to keep basically the whole of Africa where it is, apart from some flourishing cities that are now coming up. A lot of the reason that I believe they are is the Chinese are coming in and developing a lot within Africa. but also some leadership that's going on there. So I don't know. He was talking about a lot of good stuff, though.
Anybody else? Appreciate that share. Nobody else got any takes on it?
I heard the other like if they were to progress more, I mean, it would bring other countries down.
Yes, dependency. So look, let's let's change, not even change. So when we talk about natural resources, we're talking about copper, gold, silver, uh, oil, things of that nature, right? And to the common folk, it doesn't really affect them. But what does affect most people is your cell phone. Cobalt is one of the major ingredients that is on African soil that is used to allow your laptop, your cell phone, when you have your phone on and mine just rang. When it vibrates, cobalt is the element that is used to enable your phone to vibrate. Your game consoles, all that kind of stuff, batteries, the lithium batteries, all that stuff comes from Africa, the majority of it. Now, I know this because when I graduated college and I worked for NASA educational department for 4 years. So I was basically taking NASA information and then I would condense it to be taught to high schoolers, right? And grade schoolers. So I got privy to information about satellites. One satellite is called Landsat 7. Landsat 7, you can look it up. It's basically a satellite that's orbiting the Earth and is scanning the Earth for natural resources. Okay. Found that majority of the resources are on the continent of Africa. So Kobe was talking about when they chalked it all up. If you're not familiar, you can look up this one. It's called the Berlin Conference, 1881, when they met and talked about chalking up Africa. Imagine someone just comes into your house, a bunch of people, and says, okay, I'll take the kitchen, I'll take the bedroom, I'll take the bathroom, and you're still there. They just bum rush your door open and say they're taking over. That's what's basically happened on the continent, and it's nothing modern. What's making it more scary now is because it isn't just, again, just these golds, copper, silver, oil, etc. Now it's the other ingredients that allows technology to flourish, data centers, for you to enable you to put prompts into ChatGPT and Grok and all those other ones. Those resources are still coming from the continent of Africa. So this guy, Howard Nicholas, who is an economist and talks about global money, think about where he's at. Is he in a garage somewhere talking to himself? I don't know exactly where he is, but it looks like a hotel. You can see that a podium. He got a podium and a mic. So, if you got a mic, that means you're talking to a lot of people to be heard, right? Because people can't hear within the earshot. So he's talking to a lot of people. And he's openly telling you, and this is the other thing is who's there, but also who's not there. Because I don't think anybody of our hue was there. And if so, then we're not mentally there. For him to say the things he said, that it's our job to keep the ideology, the facade that Africa is poor and it's their fault. Meanwhile, all the resources are there. So that's the same people busting into your house because they know that it's something of value there. That's why they're in the first place. But then at the same time, they tell you, hey, your water is terrible. I wouldn't drink it. Your heating and your HVACs, they don't work, so I wouldn't use them. Meanwhile, they're using them. They're drinking your water. They're eating your food. They're telling you what you have isn't worth anything. Well, then why are you here? Why are they occupying Africa if there's nothing of value? So this is the type of world that we are in, and this is the type of world you're going to inherit. Okay? This is not about, oh, he's talking about white people and and Asians and no, they just happen to be that hue, and this is what they understand. This is what they do. I mean, I don't have to call you out for your color. You, as a collective, are doing it yourself. But their goal is to occupy and rape and steal whatever they can from that continent and its people, and have been doing so for over a millennium. I would say nearly probably 6,000 years, to be honest, if you do your history. So Neely Fuller wrote this thing, and you could have this conversation with people, and they might make an excuse, but Neely Fuller said this: if you don't understand white supremacy, racism, everything that you do understand will only confuse you. Because a lot of us don't understand what's going on in the world. First of all, because we don't think that people could be so inhumane. But this is a very unfortunate, inhumane society. And they prey on your ignorance. They want you to not know, and they're aggressively making sure that you don't know unless you think for yourself outside the box. Okay? So I just wanted to share that with y'all because I need you to be aware of the type of world that we're living in. It's all about facade. So here's did anybody know who this person on the left here is? What says it?
The Putin dude.
Yeah, Putin, right? So that's allegedly they want you to think that he's really good friends with Trump, but I know he's using Trump whenever he needs to. But anyway, he said this. Well, anybody want to read this? Go ahead. I don't have to read it. Someone read this for me. What President Putin said. Not everybody jump out at once.
When when an African becomes rich, his bank accounts are in Switzerland. He travels to France for medical treatment. He invests in Germany. He buys from Dubai. He consumes Chinese. He prays in Rome or Mecca. His children study in Europe. He travels to Canada, USA, Europe for tourism. If he dies, he will he will be buried in his native country of Africa. Africa is just a cemetery for for Africans. How could a cemetery be developed?
So this is a politician, a president, who has this concept of us. And he's right on. He's spot on about what he's saying. Because we have been told everybody else can serve you but us. Meanwhile, everybody else knows all the value is in us. Think about this. If I can get you to buy into me and not into yourself, who benefits? Me. If I know that, and I know that, like, for instance, I know you can do something way better than me, but if I convince you that I can do it better, then I don't have to worry about you ever being my competition. You're going to be my customer. Okay. So this is a meme that I found interesting enough. It says colonial powers be like, look how advanced and wealthy we are. Why can't you be more like us, Africa? Why are you so uncivilized? Why are you poor? Why are you starving? Right? Let me ask you all, what are some of the concepts and perceptions, your earliest ones that you have of Africa? Has it been one of royalty and advanced civilizations and technology and history? Or has it been impoverished kids that are malnourished with flies in their eyes and they're hungry and they don't have clean water? They got these care commercials talk about $1 a day feeds a child for 30 days. They give these perceptions that Africa is a third world country. Have you all seen commercials and stuff like that? Or I don't know if they put them on TV too much as much as they used to, but that's what they used to put the perception. My perceptions of Africa as a child was I don't want to go over to Africa. You go over there, you get malaria, you get mosquito bites, you get, killed by wild animals. You might even get eaten and captured by Africans, and they put you in a pot and cook you and eat you. Like, they give you these perceptions. Someone put those thoughts in your head, and it wasn't someone of our persuasion. They don't want you to know about Africa, because if you do, then you'll embrace it and understand that you don't need them. That's how they do it. That's the way it's wired. So I just wanted to drop that gem in y'all, because as you are young men and coming into this world, you need to understand the world is made up of a lot of folks that are going to lie to you. And we're showing today how they're lying to you in money. All right. So any questions, concerns, thoughts on that? I don't want to just close it if anybody got a thought or feeling about it. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I read Nipsey Hussle's book, and he said he took a trip to Africa like for 6 months or something like that. He said that like it was super like different over there. Like the women like took care of the men, and like the men like worked together to do everything basically. And that's how he's saying like that's how the whole continent works basically. That's how
Exactly.
everybody works together. That's why
Now-
people don't like. And then he came back to like, you know, he was from LA, so he says that when he went back, if everything felt like super different.
Yep. Because here's is dog eat dog. Do for self. You on your own. There's no community. And that's the reality that, you know, they don't want you to see that, because if you see that, then your whole trajectory about how you live your life will change. I definitely think that if you all get a chance, you should go to the continent at least once in your life. Okay. All right. So let's get into today's session, mastering the credit game. All right. So we do need banking. I'm not saying get away from banking, but we're going to change the way we bank. So, you know, it's time that we start playing chess instead of checkers, using arbitrage and leverage to create sustainability. We're going to use the same methods they use to put on us. We're going to use it back on them. Banking is the most important business in the world. A banker cannot make a loan unless he has a deposit, right? So we talked about the fractional lending system where they 10x your deposits. They have to have money and they make money go around. But also they don't lend their money to lend the money that you deposit. So they are relying on you to put money in there. That's why they have so many commercials telling you to put your money in their checking and savings account. That's why your job, they have direct deposit. They'll put the money in the bank for you. You ain't even got to go to the bank no more. We'll do it for
It's
you.
horrible.
Yeah.
I hate it though. That's why I work what I do. I
Yeah.
hate it working for a job. It's horrible. You gotta get paid every day.
Facts. So someone read this this vocabulary term for me.
Arbitrage, the practice of taking advantage of a price difference between two or more markets while they offer us less than 2% in savings. Banks make sure 5+ figures, dividends, and interest loans funded by our deposits.
So arbitrage is like, let's just say the six of us decide, hey, we're gonna have this click, and we're gonna use this to pimp a system. We're gonna sell people coconuts. We're gonna sell people coconuts, right? So we're gonna have this stand, and when people walk by, we'll have the coconuts for them, and we're gonna sell it for, I don't know, $5 a coconut, right? And then once we run out of coconut, where do we go to get the coconuts? Well, we're standing under a coconut tree, so we'll just climb a tree and get more coconut, right? Now, to the person coming in and buying a coconut, they're not even going to look at the coconut tree and see they can go and get their own. And it's all over the place. It's free. They're going to buy it from me because I set up a stand and I put a price on it. And you figure, hey, yeah, let's go get some. This happened to me. When we went to one of our first trips to Costa Rica as a family, we saw this guy, he had a coconut stand. And we are, hey, yeah, we just got here. Let's go get some coconut. You got to go coconut water. So he cut up coconut water, and it was about 15 of us. So we cleaned him out, and some of us wanted more. No, some of us he didn't have enough at the time. So some of us didn't have any. So he's like, oh man, we don't got no more. He said, no, I'll be right back. He literally turned around, climbed up the tree, boop, boop, boop. 15 more fell down. And I said, we are some dumb idiots. Right? he made bank on us, right? We're like, okay, you got me on that one. I get it. Okay. But the point is that this is what banks do. They're doing the same thing with money that we can do, but they're not going to tell you how to do it. They're going to take advantage. That's what arbitrage is. We're going to benefit and maximize. So when you give them money, they're going to give you 2% at the max in your savings account. 2%. So if you got $100 and 2% growth from that is $2 after, a year. So 2% a year is but $2 on that $100. Meanwhile, when you put $100 in the bank account, that $100 turns into $1,000 for the bank. That's 10x. Where we get 2%, they get over 10x. All right, 1,000%. So this is the point I'm making, is that they're doing the same thing, same process, but they have a larger benefit. So that's what arbitrage means. So what do they do with our money? This is the fractional lending reserve systems where we loan them our money. That's what you're doing. When you deposit money in an account, you're loaning the bank money. You're giving them money to hold for you. It's not theirs, it's yours. So you're loaning them, and then they turn and flip it, right? So we seed them the money to enable them to give out loans. From the loans they create, they keep 100% of the interest gained from the payments. And guess what we get in return? Zero. We get nothing. from that. Okay? Now, is this right? No, it ain't right. But a better question is, why is this legal? There's nothing
Mm.
to do that.
I thought if you wanted like to pull out a loan or do something like that, like you have to prove that you're getting some kind of money.
That part. They put you through a screen to see, because when you get a loan, their whole thing is so much about, I want to give you the money. Their question is, can you pay it back? They're focused on you paying the money back, not that we want to give you money, because they want to, so let me just tell you this real quick. I might get on some tangents today because this is really important. So what's a better situation? Let's be a bank. We're a bank, all right? And I have a customer that wants to buy something from me. And let's just say it's $600. Now I could either sell them the product for $600 and they pay me $600 flat, or I can have them pay me $600 over time with interest. Which is the better deal for me? What do you think is the better deal? To get them to pay me $600 all at once, or to pay me $600 over 6 months with interest?
All at once, unless you can pay it off before they start adding interest.
Now that's you. So that's your user strategy. But the average person, and I like where you're going with that. But the way that, if I set up a loan, most people, when they set up a loan, they agree to the terms. 6 months. They're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to pay this off in 2 months. They're like, I got 6 months to pay this thing off. So I can take my time. So most people are going to say, hey, I'll take the loan because I don't have to give it all to you all at once. But what they don't realize, and I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I had a client that was applying for a loan for $7,000. They only needed 65, but they ran their credit, and they said they can give them a loan for $7,000, right? The loan was 36 months. That's 3 years to pay off $7,000. So you think, oh yeah, that's enough time. So when you tally up how much they pay by the end of the 3rd year, guess how much they paid? Not $7,000. They paid $13,000 because $6,000 of that was in interest. You understand? So you're going to say, hey, I need $7,000. They're like, okay, we'll give you $7,000 and you take 36 months to pay it back with interest. So when you do the tally, by the end of the 3rd year, you would have paid them 13, but you only needed 7. So you almost doubled. You paid them double for what you wanted. So this is what banks do. They want you to have loans. They don't want you to pay it all up front. They'd rather you extend the loan and pay over time, because that's money that they can count on. Wouldn't you rather be in a position where you know that someone's going to pay you every month for 3 years opposed to giving me one payment today? Wouldn't you rather have that? I know I would, because then I know I can count on this money coming, especially if I multiply it by 100 people. I got 100 people paying me over 6 months every month, opposed to 100 people giving me money right now, although there's a big wad of money when you think about it. But over time, it's much more money. It's more sustainable because I can count on it. I know it's coming. So this is what banks do when they give out loans. That's why they give you 60 months. They give you 30 years for a house. When you buy a house, 30 years?
Yeah, I seen that. My uncle bought a house. He had like 50 years. I was like, that's great.
So that means you're promising them, I'm going to pay you every month for 15 to 30 years. The bank is like, sitting pretty, because I know this money's going to be, and multiply that by millions of people. That's how they make their bread. Okay. But it's legal because we signed it. All right. Someone tell me the definition of this term.
Credit. There's 3 different types of credit: loans, scorecards.
Okay, so we're going to go through these today. Read that next one for me.
Loan, something that is borrowed, especially a sum of money that is expected to be paid back with interest.
Right. So we're talking about, right? So like, okay, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you the money, but you got to pay me back slowly. I want you to pay me back slowly because I make more money out of it. All right. This is that.
Like in bigger terms, like, I don't know. It's because I'm paying tires off right now. Let's say I got a credit loan of $1,000.
Uh-huh.
Paying tires gave me, I think it was like 6 months or something like that. I think in the past, I think my next payment gonna be my last payment, and I started it like 2 months ago,
Uh-huh.
2 or 3 months ago, something like that.
Uh-huh.
It was like $1,000, and I just paid like 300. That way, I mean, they don't add no interest, and then I don't get no. They got me one time. I started paying like the insurance. Like if your tire pop, don't pay that. You pay a lot more after that. If you pay that, you end up paying like $500 more because you pay $5 to $10 every payment
Right.
just because you get insurance. That's where they did get me, but that's when I didn't. I just stopped getting insurance and I just do bigger payments. Like if you're gonna ask to get something, you got to make sure you're doing your payments on time.
That part. And I like what you said. I mean, like, for instance, just because you have a 60-month loan or a 12-month loan or whatever it is, doesn't mean you have to stick to that schedule. You can pay it off quicker. But
You gotta do that.
once you have a loan, you are paying interest. You want to shorten the amount of payments you send them. I would rather, if you get a loan, because most of us can't just go out and buy a car or go out and buy tires when we need it. So we need to get a loan. So when you do get that loan, if my car loan is 60 months, my goal is to pay it off in 36. So that means I might double up on payments. Why? Because that's 36 payments of extra money I'm giving opposed to 60.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing about being smart about, I'm not saying don't ever take loans, but when you do take a loan, understand they want it to be as long as possible so that they can guarantee that money. But you can pay more to pay it off. They'll even tell you, oh, well, you don't have to rush, but no, I'm gonna rush because that money is extra money that you don't deserve.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? All right, so let's go to the next one. So interest, someone read this for me.
The money you owe regularly on a loan or the extra money you make when you invest.
All right, so let's play this clip real quick.
What are interest rates? Presented by WallStreetSurvivor.com. Interest is a fee paid by someone who borrows money to the person he borrows it from, and an interest rate is the amount that borrower pays. Here's Ben. Ben just graduated from high school and was accepted into a top university. Sounds great, right? Only problem, the tuition is too much for him and his parents to bear. So, Ben and his folks head over to the bank to borrow money for school. Ben talks to the banker and gets a loan for $50,000 to pay for his education. But why would the bank do this? Ben's a nice guy and all, but what's their benefit in lending out the money? The answer is interest rates. In exchange for the $50,000 loan, the bank will charge Ben 5% interest each year until the loan is repaid. So each year, Ben will pay the bank $2,500 in interest. Interest is almost like paying rent on the money you're borrowing. Here's another scenario. Imagine Ben has saved up $10,000 that he keeps in a savings account at the bank. By keeping his cash there, he is actually lending his money to the bank. The bank can then use this money for investments or to lend to other people. Just like the bank charged Ben an interest rate for the money he borrowed for university, the bank pays Ben an interest rate in exchange for keeping his money with them. The longer Ben keeps his money in his savings account, the more interest he will earn. In fact, even his interest will gain interest.
But they're not going to tell you the numbers. The amount that Ben is going to make from keeping his money in their bank is well below what the interest rate of that example of 5% that the bank is charging him. He's going to get like maybe 0.1%, if that. Most likely it's going to be under that. Okay. So they're not going to tell you that number. But the point is that when he said if he took out 50,000 and they charged him 5%, which was 2,500 a year, that's $10,000 by the end of 4 years. So he didn't take out 50,000. He took out a $60,000 loan. The bank made $10,000 off of that 50,000. Okay, so this is what they do with interest. This is how they make money. And again, it's legal. And most people do it because they don't have the money. But this is how banks make their money. They make their money from loans, and the loans are seeded from the money that we put in there in our deposits. All right, amortized loan. Someone read this one.
Amortized loan, a loan with scheduled periodic payments of both principal and interest, first paying off the relevant interest expense for the period, after which the remainder of the payment is put towards reducing the principal amount. commonly used for auto, home, and personal loans.
Okay, so we're talking about cars and homes. How does this work? I'm gonna give you an example here. Here's someone that purchased a home. Now this is gonna mess y'all up. This is how they really get to us, right? So this home is worth $200,000. And when you get a home, you can talk to your parents about this, and you can ask them you can review the amortized loan schedule. Amortized being basically over time you're going to pay interest, and the initial interest is going to the bank, and then eventually you're going to pay less in interest and more goes to your house. So think about this: you buy a house for $200,000, and you have to pay $1,200 every month. That's your mortgage rate, right? So $1,200 for a year is $14,400, right? So if you bought a home for $200,000, do the math. If you paid $14,400 on that $200,000 house, it should be about $186,400 left, right? You bought a house for $200,000. You paid $14,400. So your balance should be $18,600. I'm sorry, not $18,400. $18,600 should be the balance. I'm sorry, not 18,000. $186,000. I'm sorry, $186,000. So, but what is really happening? This is what happened. This first year, y'all see where my cursor is? $200,000 balance. His interest of that $14,400, $11,933 went to interest. So really, of the $14,400, only $2,456 went towards the thing he's actually buying. Think about that. You're paying $14,400 over the year, and only $2,400 goes to what you actually bought. So by the end of the first year, your balance is $197,000 when it should be $186,000. The following year, your balance is $197,000. Again, you pay $1,200 a month, which is $14,400 for the year. Of that $14,400, just a little bit gets shaved off. $11.7 thousand of that $14,400 goes towards the bank, not what you bought. Only $2,600. So after 2 years of paying $28,800, your balance on your $200,000 home is $194,000. You only put $6,100 on your house. Do y'all see this? This is the effery of it. I'm sorry. I know we got some young folk here, but this is how they screw us. They tell you over 30 years, you'll pay $1,200. That $1,200 ain't going towards the house. Only about $100 or $200 is going towards the house. The rest of it is going in your pocket. And we think we're homeowners. You don't own it until you actually own the house. You could be you have a 30-year note mortgage agreement. You're telling them I'll pay you every month for 30 years. Number one, you got to hope you have a job that will secure that, and there's no such thing. And then two, you could be in your 29th year and in your 11th month. And if you are 90 days past due paying, if you haven't paid your house, your note for 90 days, they can come and take your house. So what, you've been paying for 29 years. You're 90 days past due. You're getting kicked out, foreclosed. This is the reality of home buying. Same thing with cars. Same thing with any kind of loan, is that there's an interest rate and the bank gets their money first. So what you're actually purchasing, you're paying very little towards that. That's why they extended over the loan. That's why loans benefit them. So here's an example, again, of this person that has a $200,000 house. They're paying $1,200. Only $200 of that $1,200 is going towards the actual thing he bought, and $1,000 is going to the bank's pocket. So this is a 30-year note. You can see here, the green is how much is going towards the house, and it starts to increase over time. $1,200, more of that is going to go towards the house and less to the bank. The bank starts out year one getting the majority of that $1,200, and over time they get less. It isn't until the 20th year that half of your payment is going towards your house and the other part is going to the bank. But guess how greedy the bank is? They won't let it get that far. After the first year, within the first 4 years of that loan, by the 5th year, definitely, by about the first four years of the loan, they're going to call you and say, hey, how's everything? Would you like to make lower payments on your house? They call this refinance. You can refinance your car. Hey, you want to pay, you're paying 200. You want to pay 150? You're like, oh yeah, I love to pay 150 because that's $50 more in my pocket, right? You're thinking you're getting a deal. No, you're not getting a deal. What's happening is, yeah, you're going to pay less, but now the loan gets extended. It's not 30 years anymore. Now it's 35 years. They added 5 more years to the loan. In addition to that, the other part I was going to say is, in addition to that is, darn, it's a big part. When you pay the $1,000, when you pay the, what was it I was going to say? It's going to come back to me. But bottom line is that the banks now have secured this loan to extend even longer. And you're thinking you're paying $50 less when you're actually paying longer. Oh, and the other part is the cycle starts all over. So you were at 5 years, the new loan takes you back to year 1. And guess what? They're getting the majority of the loan. This is the way they set the cycle up. So I would tell you never, ever refinance, ever. Never refinance. I don't care how low they make the payment, pay the thing off because you're actually going to be paying more when you refinance. You don't want to do that. All right. So this is about the fact that we can use the very same tactics that they use. Arbitrage. This is about playing chess, not checkers. All right. This is by design. Doesn't have to be yours though. Don't have to be your design. You can do things different. Masai, why isn't your camera on? So how do we win? The garden metaphor. What's a garden to you? What do you visualize? When you see a garden, you see flowers, you see food, plants, water, sunshine, etc. What is your greatest reason for being and what's in the way of attaining it? Work. Your greatest reason for being isn't to work. They've designed it so that we're supposed to go out and earn a living. We weren't born to work. As I mentioned last week, or early this week, we're the only species on the planet that pays to live here. So money is in the way. So you can't get rid of it. So let's master it. So when you master money, then you can master your time. So if you cultivate this soil, which is the foundational information of knowing how money works, with the right conditions, it can sustain your life. This is done by providing proper nourishment, education in this case, and implementation of that education. Planting seeds are hard to see before it sprouts, but if you tend to it and care for it, nature shows it will produce. So if you start doing your 5-hour rule and learning about finances, you might not see the results now, but if you're consistent, you're going to start seeing these things manifest in your life. All right. So vocabulary, here's another word. Someone read this to me. These are some of the tools we're going to use.
Credit score. When a person applies for or receives credit products such as loans and credit cards.
So the 3 main companies that your credit score is based upon is TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. As you get older, you will get to know and learn these companies. Basically, and you might want to check too, especially if you have the same name or a common name like John Smith, or if you're a junior, you want to make sure you check your credit score. If you don't know how to do that, you can ask your parents to check your credit score to make sure that someone has an open
account. A good credit score.
Say it again.
What's a good credit score?
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in 1 second. So you can check to make sure that there's no accounts open, like no one opened anything in your name. If they did, you could dispute it. Okay. You should definitely be checking your credit score at least every 6 months. So here are the score ranges of what's good to bad. So your credit score range from 300 to 574 is considered poor. Below average, 575 to 659. Fair, 660 to 712. Good is 713 to 740, and excellent is 741 to 900. The better your credit score, the more money when you go for a loan they'll give you, and the less the interest rate will be. Okay.
I got like 680.
Okay, that's good. So you're in this range of fair. Okay. So in most
Same
cases,
range.
when you apply for something, you're going to get that application, you're going to get that loan, and it won't be as high as interest as it would if it was below average or poor. Below average or poor, you might not
You
even,
can still get a loan, like if you have poor credit score, they'll still like give it to you.
if you do qualify,
They don't set you up
um,
for that is crazy.
yeah, exactly. Because again, even they figure, look, we can make some little bit of money out of this person. We want to get them tethered to paying us every month, and until they can't or whatever. So this is a shrewd business, y'all, because people want and need things, they don't have it. Back in the day, they had what was called layaways. So this is what built well before your time. A layaway was when you like, I owe you $100, I'm gonna give you $10 a week, and that was what it was. Banks understood. Oh, wait a minute, I can make money from that by you giving me $10 a week, but I'm gonna actually add for you to pay me $2 with off of that $10, so I can make money in addition to what you're paying me. I'll pay interest. You pay interest. So the banks wiped out the layaway machine, which was more user friendly for folks that were struggling, right? So the average credit score is 620. Caucasians earning less than, here's an interesting stat. Caucasians earning less than $25,000 a year have better credit scores than people of African descent in the United States, earning between 65 and 75,000 a year. Now, why do you think that is? Why do you think white folks that are making $25,000 a year have a better credit score than black folk who are making $75,000 a year?
They get less interest rate.
That's one. That is, and that's a fact, but that's one. But what's the other one? The major part, the one that you control, that we control. You ever heard of keeping up with the Joneses? Keeping up with the Joneses is you're trying to put this facade that you have something. So you material wealth. You want people to look and see that you have, that you flossing. You got some change, you got some nice cars, you got a big old house, you're the only one living in the house, but you got a 4-bedroom, a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom house, but you're the only one living there. We're splurging, we're buying more than we need. So people that are making more money are buying more things, which they don't need. So that's why their credit scores are much lower, because they're buying a lot of stuff on credit. With people with $25,000, they're like, I'm gonna make it work. I don't need it. They become a minimalist. They get what they need, not anything more than that. So it isn't always about color. It's about decisions and exposure to that. So, but if you come from a place of never having, as soon as you have, you're gonna want to make up for all that time you didn't. Okay. So here's the ethnic background, breakdown. I'm sorry, bad credits. 27% of white folk have bad credit. 28% of Latinos have bad credit, and 48% of black people have bad credit. All right. Here's the thing though. They're designed it to where you can't really get anything without credit these days. You can't get a phone,
Unless
jobs.
you got a whole lot of cash.
Yeah, they'll take cash, absolutely. But I'm saying for the average person, they don't have it. So if you want a phone, you got to get it on credit, right? But if your credit is bad, you can't get the phone. Some jobs are asking you for your credit score. Why? Why you need to know my credit score? I'm doing work. To get an apartment, you need a credit score, good credit score. To buy a home, to get a car loan, car insurance, credit cards, finance furniture, financing jewelry, apply for business loans, you need to have a good credit score. Okay. This is interesting because they're like, look, we need you to fit the criteria before we loan you your own money. Before we loan you your own money, you need to fit this criteria. The criteria is we want to make sure that you can pay us back, but it's your money. Okay. So how's the credit score determined? FICO, y'all heard of FICO? That's your credit score. They were founded in 1956 by two guys. Like any of us we just created a business. FICO isn't really FO because it don't really mean nothing. It's just basically they created something to monopolize and help the banking industry put people under. So it was introduced to banks in 1989 as first automated businesses provided automated creditworthiness scoring systems to lenders. So initially, FICO was for businesses that needed credit, and they decided they're going to have a scoring system. That's like, again, us deciding we're going to create a criteria of what you got to qualify for to get a loan. Then Vantage Score was founded in 2006 by Equifax and Experian and TransUnion. So they all use arbitrage to create a racial wealth gap. It was used for redlining. Redlining, if you don't know about what that is when they basically created neighborhoods that were worth more than others based upon the people that live there. So Black neighborhoods, Latino neighborhoods are valued less. White neighborhoods are valued more simply because white people live there. That's called redlining. Okay? It could literally be across the street, a white block and a black block, and the black block will be worth less simply because Black people live there. Okay? So this allows whites to qualify for fictitious credit amounts to finance their mortgage, tuition, insurance, and investments. And at the same time, prohibited people of color from doing the very same thing. Some redlining, imagine if you buy a home and one of the stipulations in you buying this home is they tell you, look, you can't ever rent it to anybody that is Black or Latino. So if you do that, we could take the house from you. Imagine that. This is your house. But they're telling you can't have nobody over, nor can you let them live here or stay over here. And if so, we could take your house from you. This is what redlining has done. Some of that still goes on now. So whereas many fall victim to the enticement credit cards offer to frivolously spend, it is actually one of the most vital tools one can use to build wealth. That's if you know how to use it. So again, arbitrage, we're going to use what they use against them. We're going to do the same thing. All right, so the vocabulary: credit cards, gift cards, debit cards, and credit cards are the different types of credit cards we see. Here's the clip I want you to watch, which is an APR, annual percentage rate, the interest rate computed for an entire year. So check this out real quick.
What is APR? An APR, aka annual percentage rate, reflects the true cost of a loan that you'll pay each year. Let's break it down. APR is the annual rate charged for borrowing, including any transaction fees or additional costs, and is calculated on an ongoing basis. For example, if you purchased $25 worth of ice cream for a month on your credit card with a 36% APR and did not pay off the $25 at the end of the month's billing cycle, you would owe an additional 74 cents. Small price to pay for those 4 gallons of mint chip, right? Pro tip: your credit card company or bank has to tell you what the APR will be before you sign up with them.
So this is a simple, and it makes it seem like, oh yeah, 74%, 74 cents on a $26 or whatever that price was. Oh, that's nothing. But when you start adding up all the other stuff, all these other APR rates, you start realizing I'm paying for more than what I'm buying. Okay, especially if you get larger amounts. $26 is not much, but if you purchase something that is $2,500, the APR is much more higher than that. Okay, so the nature of credit card companies. Credit card companies are just like banks. They are in the business of making money and can't unless they loan you money so they profit off the interest. That's why Bank of America has, which is a bank, has a Bank of America credit card. All right, Chase Manhattan Bank has a Chase Manhattan credit card. So they also know I can get you twice. I can get you a checking account with your deposits and savings accounts. And then I can also get you, they use the money to put into their credit card company and they'll give you a credit card. So this is why I said sometimes the credit card that you have is your very own money and you're paying for your own money because you have a checking account with Chase and then you get a credit card with Chase and your deposits that you put in Chase is what allows Chase to give you the money back on credit that you're paying back for, that you're paying on. Do y'all see the craziness in this thing? This loop is how they have manipulated our own dollars. I'm going to show you how to be your own bank. Say it again.
I think you just got to make sure you keep the money rolling. I use my credit card. I owe $800 right now on my credit card, but I paid $400 like a few days ago.
Word.
And like it gives me like a leverage, to be able to buy groceries or something like that. and then pay it back in a few days once I made the money that day or something like
No
that.
doubt.
Not letting it go. I do 2 weeks max. 2 weeks is the max you can leave that card like
Word.
there before it's time to pay it up.
Just understand, I'm not saying that we're not going to use credit. No, we're going to use it. And what you're doing is exactly right, because you are monitoring what you're doing with it. You're not out here frivolously buying stuff. But the point is that we're going to learn how to use it in a way that also we make money back from it. We're paying less off of it. So we're going to use these same vehicles. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just telling you this is the way it's designed. And if you don't understand how this is designed, you'll fall victim to these crazy amounts that they're making money off of us. All right. So here's the thing of what credit cards do. They take advantage of when you open up a credit card, they usually give you a 0 APR percentage period of 1 year or more, like 12 to 15 months. What that means is when you buy something and it's $200, there's no interest for 1 year because it's a new card. So that's like, oh, that's cool. So I ain't got to pay interest. So when I owe 200, that's all I'm paying. I'm not paying $250 the $50 interest. I'm paying exactly what I owe. But after that 15th month, their interest rate kicks in. It could be anywhere between 3% to even as high as 21%. It's higher when your score is lower. If your credit score is low, you're going to pay like 21.99% on every purchase. Okay? So how does this work? Why will they forego a whole year to 15 months of making no money off of interest? Because they hope that you're going to max your card out, which most people do. They're going to have a high balance on their credit card, and then they're going to slowly pay that off over time. And now that the 0% APR period is over, that 21.99% kicks in month 16, and they're going to be paying it off slowly over time. Now they're making their money. So they know that they can forego a year to have you pay them for many more years to come. So it's a bait and trap type of situation. All right. I'll show you how to not get caught up into that. So here's how.
Because they give you more money.
Yeah. They'll give
like
you
that.
more
Like
money.
I think like 2-3 weeks ago, they like sent me like an email. I was like, we approved you for another $1,000.
Yep.
Well, damn.
And you like,
and I don't even use my whole $1,500. I'm like, oh, I need $1,000, but it's gonna make me pay more.
Well, the thing is people are enticed to go and buy now. When they give you more, you're like, oh, well, yeah, maybe I'll go get that PlayStation. Maybe I'll go and get, you know what I mean? Because you got more money. And that's the bait and trap. So here's the thing. Definitely accept the money. I'm about to show you all a little bit of why you can build the money amount so that you can use it for other things. Because they can't tell you what to spend the credit on. That's your decision. That's what I want you to be aware of is once you get credit, you can buy whatever you want. They're not telling you can't buy, you can't invest in land with it. Okay. You can't invest in something that's going to give you a return of investment that they can't get a part of. All right. So anyway, going back to here, your credit, you're strengthening strengthening your utilization rate. So what happens is when you have a certain amount of money in your credit, that's where you find utilization, the word used, just think of what you've used. So if they give you a $10,000 credit card and you spent $7,000, that means you have $33,000 left. That means you've utilized 70% of that 10,000 because you spent 7,000. Okay. So utilization, you want to keep your percentage rates very low. You can see here on this credit, you're in the red if you spent 70,000 or 70% of what they've given you. You're in the red. You want to stay anywhere between 29% and lower. So if you have a $10,000 credit card or a $1,000 credit card, your balance shouldn't be more than $300 if it's a $1,000 credit card. If your balance goes over $300, you're in the yellow. The higher your balance is, meaning what you owe, the higher in which hurts your credit score, brings your credit score down. All right. So how the utilization rate works is, as I was just mentioning, this is an example of someone that has a $3,000 credit limit. Their balance is $1,000. They spent $1,000 of that $3,000. So when you do the division, they spent 33% of that $3,000. So that will put them in this bracket right here of yellow. And like any stoplight, green is good, yellow is cautious, red is, not good. So you want to make sure that you're staying below the 29% threshold. So they would want to come down lower, maybe $900 as a balance and be paying less interest. Okay. So how do we manage the utilization rate? In your workbook that I sent you on day one, you can use this as a test example. There's a tab that talks about, it's called the CC utilization tab, and I can show you this in the next slide, I think, or the next 2 slides. It'll show you how it has all your credit cards. Like Sergio, you can use this. You can put your credit card, the name of it, what it is. You can put how much you owe, how much your limit is, and it'll calculate for you how much utilization. So if you have $1,000 credit card and you spend $300, you utilize 30% of it. If you have another card that has $2,000 on it and you spent $500 of that, you've used 25%. Your third card, if you got $1,000 a limit, and you spent 300 of it, you got 30% left, it'll calculate also totally. So these 3 credit cards balances are 1,100. Your total is 4,000. So of the 4,000, you spent 1,100, you've used 27.5%, which has you right here in the green. You're still good. Okay, it does this calculation for you. So you know the numbers. If you know the numbers, it makes things a lot more easier, right? So here's the other part. You mentioned about getting credit line where they'll add money to your credit. You can ask for new or additional money every 90 days, every 3 months, 4 times a year if you want. The thing is, when you ask, you must ask and say soft pull. A soft pull means, so when you apply for credit, you get hit with a credit inquiry. If you have if you apply for a lot of credit and you got a lot of credit inquiries, you might get denied. So you don't want to have a lot of credit inquiries. So when you are actually applying for additional credit on your current card, you got a card for 1,000 and you want to see if you can get another 1,000 on it. You don't want to have them check your credit report. A soft pull is they will just look at your account with them and that credit card. They won't check your entire credit profile. That's what a credit inquiry is. So when you apply for a loan for a car, they're going to ship your credit score around to a bank to see who will take on your loan. So you might get hit with 6 inquiries because they check with 6 different banks to see who wants to give this guy a loan. Now those 6 inquiries are messing your score up, right? So we don't want to do that. When you're going to put more money on your credit cards, when you get to the stage, and even though you might be young enough like Jai and Masai, but when you get old enough, if I'm still here, I'll be happy to help you set that all up. But Kobe, Sergio, even Michael, if you have applied for credit cards, I can show you how you can get more money on that credit card without your credit score getting hit, which will hurt your score, which will lower the amount of credit that they will give you. Okay, so here's an example of how a credit score works and that credit line increase. Let's just say you have $10,000 on a credit card or cards. It could be all total, right? You spent 1,000 of that 10,000. So you got 9,000 left to play with, but you only spent 1,000. When you call to get a credit line increase, say they give you another $10,000. Now, right now, that threshold is at 10% because you've used 10% of that 10,000, right? That's what the line is. You use 1,000 of that 10,000. If you get 20,000, now they give you another 10. So now you got 20,000. You still owe the 1,000, but now your balance is 20,000. Guess what happens to your utilization rate? It goes lower to 5% because you've only used 5% of now, not 10,000. You've used 5% of 20,000. Y'all follow? This is how you can lower your credit score, get higher credit line increases. When you do call in, they'll give you higher because your utilization rate is low. This is how you start to multiply the balance. Now, don't go buy stuff yet. We're going to use this to build wealth. You have to discipline yourself to not use this to go and splurge or go to Cancun. We're not doing that yet. Okay? So, in the tab, there's a CC Life projection. This part I hope you're going to love. I love this part. This is the CC Life projection tab. This is where you can get an idea of what cards will look like. So if you already have credit cards, you can put in the numbers and see these things. So for instance, Sergio, you got a credit card, that's what's your credit limit? 1,000?
500.
500? So let's do
25.
huh?
2,500.
2,500? Okay. So I'm going to put in 2,500, right? Now, when I hit return, remember I said you can do a CLI or credit line increase every 90 days. That's if you start in January, you could do it in January, you could do it in April, then you can do it again in July, and then you can do it again in December. So that's 4 times you can go for that year and call for a credit line increase. And each time, most cases, if your credit score is good, you're going to get 25% added on. They're going to give you at least 25%. Okay? So when I click return, you're going to see what this card is worth the first year with 4 CLIs at 25% each time. And it's going to give you the total here. Then it's going to also tell you in 5 years, if you kept doing it every 90 days on this card, what that card will be worth in 5 years. Y'all ready to see the number?
Yeah.
Right now it's worth 25. That's how much you got. $2,500 you can use stuff for. Look at this number.
Oh yeah, I need that.
See that? So the first year you did 4 CLIs. They gave you 25% each time. So that totaled $625 each time. $625 each time you called in. So 625 actually times 4 is 2,500. So it doubled it. That card at the beginning of January, at the end of December, was worth $5,000. So you did the same thing again the following year. That $5,000 card, you call in and did 4 CLIs. Each time you got $1,250. By the end of that year, it doubled to $10,000. So in 2 years, you went from $2,500 to $10,000 on that credit card. All right.
How does that go? Walk up in the bank?
Say it again.
Just go to the bank and tell them?
You go online, or you can call in. And you call in and say, hey, I want to, and the tactic you use, and this is what it is, you just not gonna say, hey, can I get some money put on my credit card? No. You tell them, and look, you can use arbitrage. They lie, you can lie. Look, my daughter's getting married, and so when they hear, oh, your daughter's getting married, that means you're gonna pay for it. So, oh, this guy's gonna be spending some money. That's all they're thinking is, oh, he needs money so that he can pay for this wedding. So yeah, let's give him, and this happened to me. I called Bank of America one time and I got $10,000 added on to my credit card simply because I said I was rebuilding my kitchen. They're not gonna come and look and see, are you rebuilding your kitchen? They're not gonna look and see, do you have a daughter and is she getting married? Right? I prefer to talk to people. Now you can do it online and do it electronically. I prefer to talk to people because they're humans and you can get them, you can engage with them. Hey, how you doing? How's the weather? Yeah, you see the game last night? Well, yeah. Get them talking all friendly. They're like, yeah, it's June and it's, my daughter's getting married. And so, I'm just trying to see if I can get a credit line increase. And they might say, well, how much would you like? Well, I'm trying to get 25%. And you might get that. You might get 10%. You might get 15%. But the point is that you can tell them they're not going to look you under a microscope. They're going to look at from a soft pull. They're going to look at your credit history with them. Is he paying on time? Is his utilization low? Here you go.
And that's why I got to tell them, like a soft pull. How do you tell them that?
You just say, make sure I need a soft pull credit line increase. Say soft pull. I said soft pull like 5 times. You sure this is a soft pull, right? Yes, it won't. And all that is telling them don't check my credit score. And that's legal. So because if you don't say soft pull, they're going to check your credit score and you're going to get an inquiry, and you don't want inquiries unnecessarily. You want inquiries only for new credit. This is a current credit card you already have. This isn't new credit. You're asking them to put more credit on the card you already have. You follow?
Yeah.
Now listen, this is just one card. Did you also not know that you can apply for new credit cards every 6 months, twice a year? So look, if I can apply for new credit cards every 6 months, and so that means in 2 years I'd have 4 credit cards, right? And then what if you did the same play for each credit card? So I did this work for you. You can see it. Let me just zero that out real quick.
I had 20,000 in 2 years or credit limit.
Let me tell you. Let me show you. Let me show you. So I probably should blow this up so y'all can actually see the numbers. Let me blow it up because this is redunculous.
Damn, 385 grand. Need
Okay.
that.
So look, this is the first credit card we just did. I did $1,000 on it, right? This person had $1,000 credit card. By the end of the years, it's worth 2,000. By the end of 5 years, that credit card is worth $32,000. Now, mind you, that was one credit card. 6 months later, they applied for another card. They did the same cycle of calling in, doing CLIs every 90 days. Because their credit score is doing so well, they didn't get 1,000 this time. They got 5,000 on this card. I'm sorry, that's card number 3. Let me go to number 2. My bad. Number 2 is the same one because usually when they start you out with credit, you're gonna get a low balance. You're gonna get a low limit of 500, maybe 1,000, etc. You're gonna build up to it. Okay. So again, you got the card for number 2, $1,000. 5 years is worth $32,000. All right. By the end of the year, you got 2 credit cards worth $4,000 total. By the end of 2 years, those 2 credit cards are worth $8,000 total together. By the end of 5 years, it's worth $64,000 total. But that's also within 5 years, you've also applied for 8 more cards because you're doing 2 a year. This is just that these 2 cards are worth this in 5 years. But by the 5th year, you've already applied for another 8 cards because you're doing 2 a year. All right. So let's look at
all this.
Huh?
Like, let's say you would have to keep up with like which cards you spend and which cards you're paying off.
This is why you have the workbook. All of that is in the workbook. I gave y'all some gold. This workbook is like a Bible. So my financial Bible. You use it and what I can do is once our class is over, we can have like one more session where I actually show you how the workbook actually works. Okay. So make sure that in the end, y'all if y'all want to do that, we'll have one more session and we'll go over that so you can know how to work it. Okay. And you can keep this for your life, for the rest of your life, this workbook. Okay. All right. So here's the 3rd year. I'm in card number 3. This is the next, I'm sorry. So we've done, So this is, let's just say this is 2026, 2027. We're applying for our 3rd credit card. Because we did so well with the first 2, they gave us $5,000 on this card. So now after the first year of 4 CLIs at $1,250 each, that card is doubled to $10,000. The next year is doubled to $20,000. The 5th year is $160,000. And again, by the 5th year, you also have 8 other cards that we didn't calculate. This is just that one card worth. Imagine 5 cards at $160,000 each.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
You got $500,000 in your wallet.
Come on, man. Come on. So now we got the 4th card in the 2nd year. So what does that tally look like after the first 2 years of 4 cards? Let me just fit it in. You'll see here. Imagine doing for every card you have. In 2 years, you'll have 4 cards, $48,000 because you'll have 4,000, 4,000. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Yeah. So you have 4,000, 4,000, 20,000, and 20,000. So you have $48,000. In 5 years, when you tally up these 5, it's $384,000. And again, that's just these 4 cards. You still got 6 other cards to add on here. So just these 4 cards alone, if you just did this and didn't do any more cards and just did this for 5 years, you'd have $384,000 in credit. But
and then if you got 5 more of those, you said if you get 5 more.
That's my point. Is we're gonna get 2 a year.
Buy a bill with that.
Come on, son. That's my point. Is we're using their money. So here's the thing: you're thinking about, and most people are like, what do you need all these credit cards for? Because I don't want to pay all these credit card bills and the interest and everything. America is the only place where you can be credit rich and cash poor. You can't go over to most European countries and definitely on the continent of Africa and use credit to buy things. Credit is fictitious. Banks, their amount of monies that they have, it's just digital digits. It's not actual real money. They're not counting money like 100,000, 200,000. They're not, it's a digit, it's a decimal, it's a keyboard stroke, right? So that's what credit is. And we're going to use the same arbitrage tactics legally that they do to build our wealth, having credit and using this credit to purchase things on credit and still be able to pay these things off, not using our money, using their money. This is they use ours. This is the way it's all set up, y'all. The other benefit is, and you can talk to your parents about being an authorized user, is to have your name on your parents' credit, so it helps boost your credit score. Even now, Jaya, you know, you're 14, you can ask your pops to put you on as an authorized user on one of his credit cards that are performing well, so that you're building a credit score without even using credit. So by the time you turn 18, you'll have a nice credit score. Okay, so these are possibilities.
That's true.
Huh?
I said that's true.
Yeah. So that's very possible. So then now when you apply for your first credit card, it won't be $200. It might be $2,000, because your credit score is based upon what your pops and your moms have been doing. And you can be on as many authorized use cards as they have. There's no limit. Okay. So that's what I got for y'all today. Again, here's the exercise I put in the chat. Let me come out of here and share, because I'm sure that there's some things y'all want to engage about. Next week, we're going to talk about the intergenerational plan. We're meeting on Tuesday and Thursday. There will be a new Zoom link I'll email to you for next week's last two sessions.
On Monday?
Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, we got two more on Tuesday and Thursday. So let me cut them out of my share. And if you guys got any thoughts, questions, beef, let's hear it.
So I can do what, the credit check 4 times, you said, a year?
Credit line increase.
Uh-huh.
But it has to be 90 days apart. So in the workbook that I sent you, there's a tab there that has a schedule. You can actually put in the dates. So again, what we'll do is we'll set up one more meeting and I'll show you how the workbook works, so that you'll know, and you can put in dates. So what happens is when you apply for a credit line increase, you're going to put the date that you did it, and then you're going to put the 90-day date next to the column, so you know you'll have it already on your schedule. This will be your playbook. Okay, you know how like football teams have their playbooks and they run their play? That's what this is. This is your playbook. So you know, okay, it's June. I apply for credit. All right, my next application is going to be in September. And you'll see it on your schedule. So, it's time to go. It's time to go shopping for money. I'm trying to add to my coffer. I get excited about that. So that's what the goal is, for you to see that you can apply these things and start building up an exorbitant amount of credit. When my first year of doing this, I went from no credit to $80,000 in credit in, I think it was like 6 months. I broke 100,000 in credit limits, like that 8th month.
So I'm 20. So let's say I start now.
Say it again.
In 10 years, I could have over $1 million in credit money.
For sure.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And so that's the beautiful. And here's the thing about the safety. And I'll tell you about this next week. But the beautiful thing about credit is better than your checking account, because here's an example. If you get a job and you're making $50,000 a year, you're thinking, well, that's some good money, right? That really isn't, but you're thinking $50,000. But do you have access to that $50,000 full?
No.
Right? They're going to give it to you in little bits every 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you got $50,000 in credit, you got the full access. You can go and buy something for $49,999. $49,999. You can buy that today because you have full access to that amount. So this is the beautiful thing about credit, is that you have full access. Now, paying it back is what you need to work on.
Right.
But if you want to buy something huge, you can do that because it's available. Your job is going to pay you in increments.
That's why the ads come up when people are like they're rich off of the bank's money because they buy stuff that gonna bring them passive income with the bank's money.
So imagine that you take there's a investment that gives you a return for passive income. Because remember, I'm glad you brought up passive income. We're going to use credit to build passive income because passive income allows you to leave your job. I ain't got to worry about my employer paying me. I got my own passive income paying me. So we're going to take this credit money and put it into something that creates a passive income return. So then eventually, guess what? We won't need credit no more. I won't need your credit no more. Why? Because I'm going to use what's called infinite banking. I'm going to create my own infinite banking system where my passive income is my bank.
Mm-hmm.
That's what pays me. That's what I live off of. When I need a loan, I go and pull it out of there. I don't go to a bank and face racism because of my color and my ethnicity, and also because and then have to also pay you interest when I'm the one that gave the money in the first place. I also want to use a curse word now, but I won't say it. But the point is that that's how they've been fashioning it to us, is that they will sell you something thinking they're doing you a favor. When they
and there's people out there just floating.
They're relying on you. They need you. You don't need them. They need you. But they position it as though, hey, I'm doing you a favor.
So in the meantime, in paying back the cards, are we trying to create? So we're trying to create that passive income to first pay back what we used from like the credit cards, and then not have to use them anymore.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, and here's the other thing right now, until you can do that, you obviously need to have some sort of income to cover the credit cards you pull out, right? So you need to pay your credit, definitely pay the credit card bill. You know what I'm saying?
I want to know how many people know that you can do that every 90 days. I didn't know that. Probably like 10% of the world knows that.
Less than. And this is the point. That's what arbitrage is. But the problem is, to our benefit is, we are in the information age.
Mm-hmm.
You can get access to information if you do the digging, if you do the research. It's not. See, the one thing that they would say is, what's the easiest way to hide something from somebody? You ever heard?
To hide it in plain sight.
Plain sight, and put it in a book.
And put it in a book.
People don't read. People don't read, and they don't believe what they see. They don't understand what they see. So if you understand what you see and know what to read, then you see things that other people don't see. And this is not.
Damn, that's those right there.
It ain't magic. It's not magic. It's your mindset. And if they have your mindset focused on other things, then you'll never see this. And the majority of people, and I'm gonna tell you something. When you try to put your people onto this, I'm taking this class with this brother, and and then you tell them this and that. Most of them gonna be like, in one ear and out the other.
Mm-hmm.
Very few will be like, "Yo, I want in. Tell me about that." They're gonna wait to see you flossing.
I told my homeboy, he was like, "Oh yeah, but look at this Prize Picks I just put money on."
Mm-hmm. Once they see you living the lifestyle, then they're gonna ask you, because they see you doing it. But people don't want to apply, do the knowledge. They don't want to do the application. And there's a lot of people that are giving you misinformation. That's why I said, be that evaluative thinker. Even challenge me. Do your diligence. Don't just believe it because I said it. Go and do your diligence.
Right? No, but that's like, when you break it down like that, you'd be a dummy if it don't make sense to you.
See how much sense it makes? Makes a whole lot of simple, plain sense. But guess what they did? They robbed us of common sense and replaced it with dollars and cents. We're focusing on the money and not understanding how money works. We spend our entire lives working for something we know the least about. And it's designed that way.
You can just walk up in there every 90 days and tell them, give me some more money.
Yep. Go shopping. Go shopping for money. I want to add more to my credit limit. So let's go shopping. It's 90 days. Oh, word. And this other beautiful thing about it, right? And then I'll close out. You got 10 cards. So obviously you got different dates. So,
Right.
oh, this month I'm going to get shopping for that card. Next week, I'm going for that card. In 3 weeks, I'm going for that card. So you're going shopping not once a year, you're going several times a year. I'm sorry, no, you're going, if you got 10 cards, you're going 40 times a year. Because you're doing 4
No.
times these cards.
Right.
And then when you add
That's
more
they
cards,
put a
next year,
business
you're
to
adding,
each card.
yeah, you're adding
That's
another
make it-
4 for each card you add on there.
That's
So
cool.
it could get crazy, but it's a good crazy. And you can cut off where you want to cut off. You want 10 cards and that's it. Cool. If you want 20 cards, I saw a video of this kid. He was 18 or 19, bought a truck fleet, like bought his own truck. He's a trucker. And he showed how he did it. He pulled out a wad of credit cards, this thick.
Hmm.
He said, I bought my business using these credit cards.
Wow.
For Black movies, there's a movie called Hollywood Shuffle, made in 1989, I believe, by Robert Townsend. Spike Lee used to make his movies off of credit because he didn't have the cash. He used credit to pay for this, and then he turned it into, flipped it into millions of dollars. You can't do that anywhere else than in America. You can't do this in any other country. You got to have cash or some
You
sort
sure
of
can't do that
collateral.
anywhere.
You got to have gold, like an actual bullion of gold, you know what I mean, to be worth something. Here, all you got is a credit score, and that's fictitious.
Right.
Okay?
And
So understand this is how you build wealth. All right. So I ain't gonna belabor it. Listen, y'all have a great weekend. Get the homework done. If you haven't sent me the homework from Wednesday, get me that too. And remember, when you go in there, do a file and download the document. You're not working it on the actual site. Download it, and then at the bottom of the document, it tells you where to email it to me. info@cryptowealthmovement.com. If you have any questions, concerns, thoughts, anything, y'all hit me up. I live for this. I love this, and I enjoy that you are enjoying it and getting something from it. That makes me feel good because I wish I knew what y'all knew at y'all age. I can see where you all will be in even 3 years. You're going to be so far advanced than the majority of the people that are in your life. And they're going to envy that. But what you're going to do is, hey, show by example. And who knows, you might even teach.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that you are learning something that majority of people don't know and need. So please don't sleep on this. All right. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Y'all good?
Gucci.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I will see y'all on Tuesday again. Look out for the email. I'll probably send it on Sunday or Monday. But enjoy the weekend,
Sunday.
enjoy the summer, and I'll
Remind us on that Sunday.
for sure. I'll do that. All right, y'all.
All right.
Bless up.
All right, man.
Later.
I'll have a good one.
Bye.